Okay, six. Could you briefly explain to us the expressive dynamics of the recitativo semplice in Mozart?
Yes, well, aside from the true core of the drama being in the recitativo, not in the aria. Once once the guy kicks off into the aria, we're getting some sentiment and about the core of this individual's character, about the situation that he's in. Yes, of course, but in Mozart in particular, also in Handel and Rossini, you have a recitativo, which is the conveyor belt of the drama, right? It's propelling it forward. So when you're listening to a Mozart aria, opera with the libretto, with the score, what have you, pay very, very, very close attention to what's going on in the recits. That's where the opera is.
Yeah.
That's really, okay. Now, on a personal level, I know, and you know full well, that singers just hate learning recit. It's this necessary evil. Okay, I'm going to sing Ferrando. I'm going to sing Don Ottavio. There's a lot of recit. Okay, well, that's how I got arias too, and I have musical sections. So I guess I have to just live with doing recitativo. This is terrible. This to me is terrible, because there is something to be revealed that I'd like to reveal to you and have you consider. And that is, the recitativo is the vehicle by which you bring yourself to the aria or the ensemble. So say, for example, before Dalla sua pace, if you were to come on stage and the orchestra strikes the chord 4 beats, right? You would be so nervous before that aria to just come on the stage,
Yeah.
sing the aria cold like that. But Mozart, thank God for Mozart, he gives you the opportunity to warm up the voice just a little bit, right? So my strategy for recitativo, and I'm so grateful that there's a recitativo, is that I'm using it um, um, in a very intelligent way to bring myself warming attack of the aria, ready to sing.
Okay.
Come mai creder dentro di sinero delitto, capace un cavaliero. Always, okay, getting ready. Okay, wait a minute, that's not right. Okay, I can still fix it. I can still fix it. I can tune it.
Wow.
All the while thinking, while you're delivering the recit behind your eyes. The people don't have to see it. You're doing the character. The public doesn't even have to realize you're doing it. But the recitativo is a gift from Mozart, from recitativi in recitativi operas. They're a great gift to the singer to get ready for the aria, for the duet, for the sestetto. You know what?
Okay.
Just use it in the most intelligent way. It's a great way of thinking better of them.
Wow.
So
Very
if you and they should be sung. They're not. It's not Sprache. It's not. It's not. You must sing them, and I have to invoke Maestro Multi's name one more time. I did not know how to sing recit before I met him. I mean, I did. I did a lot of operas with recit, and I thought I was doing a tremendous job. But boy, did he teach me how to work recitativo.
so
And he's a kind of a frustrated singer, because if you ever see him in action in rehearsals, he's singing all the time from the pit. You know, and he's singing. You know how he is, and
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
he. I know it's not a trained instrument, but he sings everybody's part. So, but when you rehearse the recitativo with him, he introduced me to this idea that don't waste this. Don't waste these 5 minutes. It's not like throw it off, rush it as fast as you can. You can't wait for recit to end, and now you can get to the big aria. And oh, look at me! No, the recitativo is a great device for warming yourself up for the number that's coming. Yeah,
Molto interessante,
yeah.
veramente.
I hope you agree. I don't know. I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but it was necessary for me. Listen, I think every singer is nervous. Every singer goes to the stage with a little bit of nerves, even if you've already been on stage and
Yeah.
you're off for 20 minutes or 15 minutes, and now it's time for your entrance for your aria or your duet,
Yeah.
and the nerves start again. But if you've been given the gift of recitativo, Okay.
Yeah.
You can breathe a little bit. You can get your stomach back to where it belongs, and get your bearings. And so if you waste those minutes, you could get into the aria already still nervous. You see? So anyway, go ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Can I provoke you a little bit? But this is because you are tenor, or because all the singer are have this feeling? Get nervous because I know
Oh,
tenor.
please, please, it, 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 I guess it's just my nature. I'm not very good at hiding behind some kind of mask. I'll be honest with you. I never went out not nervous. Never, never. I, not speaking of my colleagues, they have their techniques for going to the stage. I don't know who was I know who was nervous and who wasn't over the course of my career, but we're not talking about that. But
No, okay.
I'm quite honest with you. There were times, say within a run of performances of 10 or 15 performances, where I may have already done 5 or 6, and at the seventh one, I I, I want to get me out of here. Get me. I want to be any place else but this right now. And this is the plague of the singer. It's just the way it is, or anyone in performance. You know, on Broadway they do 8 shows a week, but I'm sure that there's a couple in there where the guy who sings still feels, oh my God, because it's just human nature. But there are techniques that you can engage in, things that you can tell yourself and work, and then once the music starts, but there are um, many evenings where the first 10 or 15 minutes on the stage I was all how do you say rubber legs in Italiano?
Ro-
Like a rubber, my legs were made of rubber, or like
rompere le gambe,
yeah, yeah,
break
like I,
leg,
I was there,
a
but I wasn't there.
tremare le gambe, sì, sì.
Right? So you see, so here's something very important about this, is that your preparation acts as a catalyst for muscle memory, right? So the better your preparation, the better, more secure you are in your role. You could literally go through a few minutes of kind of coasting. You're performing, but you're not there yet. I know this for a fact. I know that I'm not the only one who suffers from this. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a thing in boxing, right? When a guy gets hit in boxing, he knows he's hit, but he's still on his feet. He's doing what he can to try to fight back. And while he's stunned, he tries to get a second win, and he comes back. And you see these guys come back and win. And
Yeah.
this is a kind of similar paradigm for the nervous starter, the person and then hopefully you can redeem yourself. But this is the very difficult part about singing Rossini, because Rossini, for instance, you come out and you sing your first aria within seconds of your entrance.
Yeah.
Lindoro in Italiano,
Lindoro.
you're ready to go.
Yeah.
So that's a whole nother preparation. But yes, absolutely nervous. I'm I'm no Corelli where I can't cancel 5 minutes before the curtain sometimes, but I think it's very important to have such good preparation, so that even though your mind is not totally present, your voice and your body can do it. If that makes any sense. Yeah.
Got it.
Muscle memory.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, 7. What are the fundamental artistic characteristic a student must possess to pursue a career in opera?
Well, I would say that self belief, uh, you know, obviously a voice. Okay,
Okay.
somewhat by the time you are a certain age and you have decided to go into this, you've had enough aunts and uncles and grandmothers who told you, "Oh, you sing so well. You should be a singer." And
Yeah, yeah,
and I think the singer is one of the bravest people on the earth, because in the early stages of a career, you are spending a lot of money for something that you're not quite sure if you're ever going to get money back, right? So there's a courage and is really the most important thing. And this belief that this life is brief, and we want to do what we want to do while we're living it, right? So we're and that we have a right to try first. So what your question is actually multi-tiered, because what's the mentality at the very beginning when you decide to sing? What's the level when you're on young artist program? What's the level when you get an agent? So there's a lot to think about at every course, every level of the career, and constant thinking and rethinking about where you are in your development. Uh, how did the last engagement go? Will that hurt me in the future? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
People talk, you have a bad night, you could sing 10 great performances and then have one evening that didn't go as well. And that's what everybody wants to talk about. So I would say the main thing after one discovers that they have a voice, and then they understand all the rigors that go with this profession, because it's not just having a beautiful voice. There's a lot of stewardship, a lot of intellectual pursuit here, language, history, drama, but this belief that you were called somehow to do this, and that I'm not going to quit until there's just absolutely no chance, maybe, right? And I feel sorry for those people who have to make that decision. But once you decide to go with all your heart, knowing that, let's say you're 21, 22 years old, and you decide, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. Do you really want to arrive at 50 years old saying that you quit? Because every day that you feel that you no longer wish to do it could be the day where something breaks. I quit singing 3 times. I quit once for an entire year, and 2 other times for 6 months. I just
Wow.
I just walked away from it, and thankfully, my wife and I are married nearly 40 years. We were going out at that time when I made those decisions, and she didn't push me. She didn't, ride, really berate me in any way, or yell at me about what I had decided. She was patient with me, and then one day she said, "Would you like to work on a song with me?" She plays the piano.
Okay.
Would you like to work on some art songs? And I said, "Oh, I don't know. No,
Yeah.
come on, I'll play. You don't even have to sing. Just listen." And little by little, I started to think about it. I stopped singing for a year and was painted houses. I just
Yeah, you are great painter.
yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
well, no, no. I painted apartments. I painted rooms.
Ah, painter apart. Okay,
I
okay.
was a house painter, and
Okay.
because I had enough. And then I came back, and then I entered a vocal competition, and things started to roll. But if I had turned my back on it 2 years before that, nothing would have ever happened for me. Nothing. So every
Very.
time you want to quit, just go have a coffee, go have a beer or something, or go read a book that you like, take a walk, and regain your courage, because around the corner from quitting is success. It's a real thing. It's real. And remember the average career is roughly 10 years, 10, 15 years. And for many people that would be fantastic. That would be all they're really looking for. But a 35-year career is a great thing, right?
Yeah.
But but once you get your foot in the door, do everything you can to stay there. Don't start to do things that were going to make you, people are going to not want to work with you. Be a good colleague, be kind, be generous, be prompt, do your work, be on time, and show up on time. There are many things I could tell you about how to maintain your life in music, but we don't have that much time. So
But
yeah.
anyway, you are very talented painter.
Oh
I
yes, I've been doing that now for a few years. Well, thank you if you
yeah,
say
absolutely.
that's great.
I look. I watch every paint you do. And
Oh,
you
I,
paint.
I I paint every morning. I like, that's the way I start my day, and I feel really like agitato when I don't do it. Like if I once I do that, I get it out of my system, and I'm able to. The rest of the day is okay for me.
Okay.
So, but I like it. I've been doing it for about 5 years, and I wanted to be an artist when I was in my teens, but I wasn't really very good, and I didn't have the time or the money to go to school, and
Yeah.
so. But I'm having a chance to do it now, which is great.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, number 8. Do you recommend a daily study schedule for student?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, my if I may be so bold, when I first got married, my wife was working in the city, and I made a deal with her. I said, "Listen, if I need to work on an audition package and absolutely spend 8, 9 hours a day just zeroing in on that."
Wow.
And I said, "I'll make a deal with you if you could help me with this for 3 years. If it doesn't work out, then I'll do something else, right?" So she worked in the city. I went back to the apartment and worked for all day until I had to go pick her up from the train station. Okay, so that is a rather severe, a rather um, that's a lot of time, 9 hours. But I was so behind in my development, and I needed to memorize 10 or 15 pieces for an audition package. I just stayed at the piano all day, and it was a wonderful opportunity. Now you know full well a young person living in New York trying to pay rent in New York can't dedicate himself to 8 or 9 hours of study. You see, so I find that as the students that I work with and I observe that it's a sort of catch as catch can opportunity to study. So if you're working from 9 to 5, you come home and you have dinner and you want to just unwind for a little bit, and now you have to go to the piano and learn your aria. This is a Each individual has to work this out for themselves. But yes, I absolutely. And so if you have a day, if at all possible, take a learning vacation and just spend 8 hours not singing all day, not singing,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
but in intellectual work, working
Yeah,
on your score,
yeah,
listening to recordings,
yeah.
memorizing, marking your score, getting ready. Yes, absolutely. A daily regime and discipline, because it will definitely pay off in the end. But like I said, many people don't have the time. But I was very blessed and very gifted that my wife was willing to help me. And those hours, I was able to jumpstart. Literally after 1 year, I entered a competition and I won the competition. So I put my work in. Had I had to work a job, say painting houses, working labor, because I had no other skill. If I didn't sing, I don't know what the hell else I was going to do.
Wow.
That's the way it is. And so yes, if you can do it, spend every hour that you have the energy to do it. And now people come home from work and they say, "Oh, who wants to work on an aria?
Yeah.
I'm just going to have a drink and watch a movie."
Yeah.
This is difficult to find the discipline. There
Yeah,
are
yeah,
a lot of things to distract a young person today. Social
yeah,
media,
yeah.
Netflix, the bar on the corner, uh,
Everything.
everything. So I didn't have these distractions. I made sure that I got rid of many things in my life at that time. I didn't even own a television. I didn't even own a TV. No, so
Yeah, we have the same feeling. I
yeah,
am
yeah,
totally this way.
yeah.
Okay, 9. What do you think of the empirical terminology that is used in teaching singing?
Well, I
Example,
feel
sound back, sound bite, or
yeah,
many, oppure suono indietro, suono davanti, or
right.
such expression like that.
Yeah, obviously these are sort of these are phrases or nomenclature for not being able to tell a singer, "Oh, I want you to move your soft palate. I want you to do this. I want you." So they create environments or images. There
Images.
is such a thing as singing back and singing front. We know that, right? Acoustical availability to the front of your face
Yeah.
and then to the back of your head. Right? But I feel sorry to some degree for the teacher who absolutely says this is the only vocabulary I have for teaching, when the every individual who comes through your door is going to hear your message in a different way. So what works semantically for one singer may not work for the next person.
Yeah.
So very often the first lesson is not the time to find out, is always what your student can endure, right? So you're going to use certain phrases that they're scratching their head. I don't. What do you mean? This is the way I've always done it, or this is my last 8 teachers told me this. And so you have to sort of gauge how that individual in front of you, what kind of conversation you could have with them, and what kind of imagery you could get with them. Because I find that opening the vocal pedagogy book and telling them, oh, you need to move your hyoid and your correct, this is ridiculous. This is no way to teach. And so this whole idea I was telling you about the legato on the vowel singing, this should, I think, be universal to every teacher. But how we get them there varies from teacher to teacher. One of the things that makes me absolutely crazy is that how you can have a word with the two vowels, the same vowel coming up consecutive in a word, and how the singer will be forward and then suddenly back over 2 notes. Like you have to be able to hear that, right? And then you have to be able to ascertain that you've done it, and then teach the singer how to fix it. So, and this is often the difficulty I have, is getting every note in that phrase to be on par with the best note in that phrase. You see, so
Yeah,
if you
yeah, yeah.
show me, I always say to young singers, if you show me in one place, then you can't use an excuse in another place that you can't, because you just showed me there in a much more difficult place that you were amazing. That was amazing. And now you're going to try to tell me here that you can't. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't. No, I can't accept that. So very often I liken this to, say you have 7 notes in a phrase, and each one of those notes is represented by a little light bulb. Well, the notes that are in a good position for me are the bulbs that are going to light up, and the
Yeah.
other ones are not going to light up. I want all of them to be lit. I want
Very
the whole phrase to have a presence.
very interesting,
Yeah.
Frank.
Yeah.
Very,
Oh,
very.
yeah.
Okay, number 10. Finally, uh, could you tell an episode that has positively marked your artistic career?
Well, it might sound strange considering all the places that I've been, and my experience overall from the beginning of my career to the end. But I have to say, and I've believed this since that day, that my very first professional opera engagement
Oh,
was the best of all of them. Now,
wow.
mind you, I did the Don Giovanni alla Scala with Strehler, con Strehler.
Wow.
I worked with Luca Ronconi. I
Wow.
worked with a lot of interesting conductors, a lot of interesting producers and directors, and wonderful, wonderful singers. But my first engagement at the St. Louis Opera Theater
Oh,
in 1984, in the role of Tamino, was by far the best overall. Like, if you had from 1 to 10, fill in the number, you say artistic level 10, colleagues 10, your output 10, you're rising to the artistic level 10. Nothing ever compared to that again. I never had. It was actually ended up being almost a spiritual experience for me, and an ensemble that I was never able to replicate. I never was part of another ensemble like that. And this is lo juro. I'm
wow.
telling you the absolute truth, and I
And
hope that
who's the conductor? Who is the conductor?
um the
Who?
uh his
Not
name was
Stephen, not Stephen Glover,
he's
no?
no longer with us. His name was Scott Bergerson. Scott
Okay.
Bergerson. He passed away a couple of years ago, but uh, there was the most wonderful. That's all I can say. The production. It was in English too. It wasn't even in German.
Ah,
But I had the most, and I was looking from that day forward, thinking that all of them are going to be like this, and it just wasn't. You know, particularly the engagements where you come in on a Tuesday morning, you say hello, you shake hands, you look at the conductor, and they look, hi, nice to meet you, and you're on stage in 3 days. There's no chance to have a real ensemble. You know, I was at a dinner party once with Donosi, you know, what's the mezzo soprano? I forgot her first name. Please forgive me. But there's a woman at a dinner
Italian?
party, huh? Uh,
Italian?
no, I think she was Hungarian. But
Oh,
anyway, this young lady, she's looking at me from across the room, and she's looking at me and looking at me, and I said, "Gee, I probably should know who that is because she's looking at me like she remembers me." And I says, I'm sorry, I'm sorry if I forgot. She goes, no, I'm trying to figure out where I saw you last, and it was on a Rigoletto in Vienna, and it was one of those in on Thursday, out by Monday productions, and we didn't even remember that we worked together. You see, so it's
incredible.
really, I'm sure that every singer has one of those experiences where, oh yeah, that's right. Did we? Oh, that's right. But it was one of those 3 day things, and you know, concerts in particular. Sometimes years go by and you forget. You know, but those things were not particularly satisfying for me. But
Okay.
yeah, the director's name was Colin Graham, and
Right.
he passed away also sadly. But he was a kind of a guru, and he commanded such presence from everyone there. No one ever talked about anything else but the work. If you were talking, it had to be about what we were doing there, not about did you see that movie? Where do you want to eat tonight? Or how old? Where did you buy your dog? You know, no, it was had to be about the work, and he created such an environment where we did everything that he said and really stuck to following him fully, and so that was a pivotal moment for me, and you know, I have to say, and then if I can, everything I learned about acting, believe it or not, I got from one man in high school. His name was Scott Martin. He's still alive, Scott Martin. And with him, I did Fiddler on the Roof and West Side Story. Now, you said, what do you mean in high school? How could you say you learned everything? Because this man was an actor in his youth who decided to go into teaching for pragmatic reasons.
Yeah.
And he was just the most consummate teacher and demanded from us a character development. We had to write a report and who our character was, what they were doing before this show, and what would happen to them if they lived. What would their life be like after the show? You know, and we had rehearsals, intense rehearsals and techniques, and I took that with me everywhere I get. It got me through summer stock after that, and then it got me through 30 years of career because I fell upon the very dynamics that I learned about acting there. I took with me for the next 30 years, because you know, now with new productions, you know what's going on these days. I think the singing actor is required physically to do some things differently than were required of me. Towards the end of my career, I had some rake stages and I was rolling around in, you know, and it wasn't that easy for me. But when I first started acting, true acting in opera, there were only a few artists that I saw that were very good actors while they were also good singers, because the dynamic of singing makes singers have to focus on that thing alone and often forget that they are a character. And
Excellent.
so I had a lot of good tools given to me at a very young age. But this magic flute in St. Louis still remains the highlight of my career. And it was really before I had done anything at all. You
This
know,
is very touching story. I think
I hope so. Yeah, no, I loved all the
touching story.
people
No,
there. All of them had nice careers. All of them went on to do
yeah,
good things, but it was never.
yeah. In somewhere we feel the same because we had you had experience with over the top,
Yeah, yeah.
but your memories is just a little production, but
Yes, Absolutely.
very, very important for your spiritual
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. It's like Orson Welles, like a Rosebud, from a Citizen Kane. He became a very wealthy guy, but he always remembered that little sled that he had when he was a boy before he inherited any money. It meant so much to him. He carried it, and this production is very important. Though, can I tell you a story? You have a moment for a story?
Absolutely, yeah, yeah.
This very production in St. Louis, my agent was trying to get me very hard to get started. I was doing some concerts here and there, but this was my first opera, and he was very proud that he got this engagement for me. And I auditioned for this 3 times before they finally took me. So in any case, now we open, and I did a few performances, and my agent finally had a chance to come. I had a wonderful roommate. We were sharing a house together, uh, and he had a little car at that time. It was called a Yugo. Yugo. It didn't last long. It didn't last in the American market. It was like a little garbage can on wheels, very
Hugo,
small.
Hugo.
Yugo, Hugo, Hugo,
Okay, Hugo.
or Yugo, but
Okay.
it didn't last.
Yeah.
And so he had one of these, and he would drive me to rehearsal, drive me home after performances. And when the night that my agent came, my roommate said to me, "Listen, I'm going to go out with these other people that came to visit me from my hometown. They're going to get me home. Would you take the car home?" Well, I was a little nervous because I had only been a passenger in this car. I never drove the car. So I tried to figure out landmarks, how to get back to our apartment. Okay, make a long story short, I had a couple of beers at this gathering after the opera, and I wasn't ubriago, but I was okay. So my agent is sitting. I'm going to take him to his hotel first, and then I'm going to go home. And as we're going down the road, we were stopped by a patrolman on a motorcycle, uh,
Oh,
highway patrol, and they went this way first, and then they came back, and so I pulled over, and my agent was stone like a stone in his seat next to me.
Pietrito,
Isn't that
Pietrito.
Oh, you don't understand. If you get arrested, it could be very bad for your career. I said, okay, just relax. I'll talk with the guy. So I put my concentration together. Now I'm looking in the rearview mirror, and I see the guy get off his motorcycle, and he was taking off his helmet. He was taking off his gloves, and for some strange reason, at 12:30 at night, and after midnight, he is wearing sunglasses. So he takes all of these things out, takes them all off, and puts them inside his helmet. He comes over to the side window. I already have the window open. He says, "You're going a little fast there, young man." I said, "Yes, sir." And I start talking fast when I'm nervous, especially with the law enforcement. "Oh, yes, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize how fast I was going. I'm so excited. I just made my debut at the St. Louis Opera Theater." And he goes, "What? Hold on right there. Hold on right there." And I said, "Yes, why?" He says, "Hold on a second. You said that you just made your debut tonight at the St. Louis Opera Theater." I said, "Yes, that's correct." He said, "What do you mean by that?" I said, "Well, this was my debut in America, in the United States. I'm trying to embark on a singing career," and my agent is still frozen over there. He
Frozen.
wasn't contributing anything to the conversation. So he says, "Okay, so you are a singer then?" I says, "Yes, that's correct." He says, "Oh, okay." He said, "What were you singing?" I said, "I was singing the role. I was singing the magic flute."
Magic flute.
Oh, that's really interesting. Tell me, what role were you singing? I said, "I was singing the role of Tamino." He says, "Very good, very good." And let me ask you, what would that opera be in German? What would you call that in German? I said, "Now I'm starting to think I'm in a Pirandello play or some crazy thing." Like, what? You're asking me very pointed questions, right? What would that name of that opera be in German, and who wrote it? I said, "That would be Die Zauberflöte by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart." He says, "Very, very good, very wonderful." And you sang he says, "That's fantastic. I have one more question for you. What if you had to choose a recording? Which one would you choose?" I said,
No,
I
no.
now, now, now my agent is just he doesn't know what to think. He's dreaming, you know. And I said, well, of course, the Böhm recording with the Fritz Wunderlich. He says that all your answers have been correct, young man. And now you be careful on our roads here in St. Louis. Good luck for the rest of your run, and I hope you have the career that you're dreaming of. He puts his helmet on. He says, "You wait for me to leave. Don't leave until I do." Puts his gloves, his sunglasses, and his helmet on, and he goes off into the night air. And my agent looked at me, and I said, nobody in the world is ever going to have a story like this.
Wow.
It was just beautiful.
Fantastico.
This highway patrol officer from St. Louis knew probably more about opera than I did. And I answered all the questions correctly, so I didn't have to get out of the car and do the test, you know, and walk on the line.
Wow, thank you. Fantastico, incredible.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to do this. I really
Okay, Frank. It was very, very, very incredible meeting today. Talking. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not journalist, but just to promote Operissimae, to promote with a friend like you and artist like you. And now I thank you, Frank, and I hope we can meet again soon. And ok, we can. Vuoi dire qualcosa in italiano per gli ospiti di
No, grazie.
Salutare, solo salutare.
Salutare tutti, spero che avrai tutto quello che volete, avrete tutto quello che volete e tutti i vostri sogni in questo mondo. Salute a tutti.
Okay.
La cosa più importante nel mondo è salute. Da quello puoi avere tutte le altre possibili.
Wonderful. Yes, wonderful. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Frank. Bye, everyone.
Ciao.
Thank you. Ciao.